With the main tours wound up for the year, December finds the world's top players getting on planes and taking part in some end-of-season extravaganzas. Jesper Parnevik is among the 8 players competing in the second staging of the Johnny Walker Super Tour. Nick Faldo is one of his opponents as they prepare to play 4 rounds in 4 different Southeast Asian countries over the space of 6 days. Ernie Els, the US Open champion, gives this unique tournament a major feel, while the 4th of the European Tour contingent is Ian Woosnam. They're up against Thailand's Bunchu Ruangkit and 3 other top Asian players on a whistle-stop shootout around the region. First stop Jakarta, where the opening round is at the Arnold Palmer-designed Emeralda Golf and Country Club. With time at a premium, there are no practice rounds, so even the big names need all the help they can get.
I'm the rookie to this one, so yeah, it's kind of difficult. It's actually very difficult on the caddies. They're the ones who are going to, get us through in the end, because Fanny was running around here, with her wheel this morning. Did give me some decent yardage, so I know what I do, and I just carted round to have a look. If Fanny does a good job and points me in the right direction, I think I have a good week.
The parties are great. They really look after us so well. In this golf tournament. The flying is not too bad when you're flying a 737, so we can't complain.
And Els, the defending champion, gets off to a good start with a first round 69 full of wonderful iron shots. Els isn't impressed with his putting on the day. Not that he has to worry too much about his putter with shots like that. An even better opening salvo comes from Faldo, who's out in 33 before carding a flawless 5 under par 67. All that measuring from Fanny Sunesson paying dividends. But Faldo is unable to shake off his European Ryder Cup colleague Parnevik. The Swede comes home in 33, including a birdie-birdie finish, to share the first round lead with Faldo. And so to Bangkok for the second leg of this Johnny Walker Super Tour.
This is what they gave us for a gift when we got here, and it's handmade, some flower decoration, which I don't know how they did, but it's beautiful.
And Parnevik is beginning to play some beautiful golf. Over the long and tough Panya Indra course, his 71 keeps him in a share of the lead with Faldo, who also shoots a 71, made up of 3 bogeys but 4 birdies. They stay 2 ahead of Els, who needs physio for a bad neck, and Ian Woosnam. Felix Casas of the Philippines is the best from the Asian circuit early on. From Bangkok, it's a 737 flight to Manila, and then a short hop to the stunning Philippine island of Boracay, with scenery to cheer up Indonesia's Man Nazim, who'd had a torrid time in the second round and shot an 87. The third leg takes place at the Fairways and Blue Water Resort, a chance for a spot of rest and relaxation before another 2 days of tough competition. The rest does wonders for Nassim as he cards a 68, while Ruangkit keeps up his steady progress with the second of what will prove to be 3 successive 70s, his inspirational play enjoyed by enthusiastic galleries. But the blue water of the resort is not to the liking of Faldo. As Woosnam has to withdraw through heat exhaustion, Faldo loses his share of the lead as he goes from one hazard to another. A 72 allows the outright lead to be claimed by Parnevik, who shoots another excellent 4 under par 68, as he shows the sort of form which has been with him for much of an outstanding season. And so to Taipei for the final stop of the tour, and very different conditions with rain and cool temperatures in which the title would be decided. Despite the soggy weather, the enthusiasm for the event is undiminished from a crowd estimated at 6,000. The tournament now is Parnevik's to win, and he does so with a final round 70. So after 4 rounds in 4 different countries, Parnevik finishes at 12 under par, 4 ahead of Faldo, who just pips Ruangkit, Els and Casas, the other players under par.
It's been a great week. We had a lot of fun. All the guys and all the places we've been to, great golf courses, some late nights, but it's been a lot of fun.
It had been another great tournament the previous week in Sun City, host to the Nedbank $1 Million Classic. Local favourite Ernie Els comes home in 33, thanks to some final green heroics, to put him just 1 shot behind leader Nick Price. That leaves Price facing a tricky par putt to beat the elite 12-man field. Price keeps his nerve to finish with back-to-back victories in his native Zimbabwean Open and Sun City, and round off a year which he'd begun with back-to-back wins in South Africa. Phil Mickelson had been in pole position, but he falters over the last 3 holes and can't take advantage of an outside chance to tie on the final hole. An unfortunate end to his opening near-faultless 3 rounds. But few would begrudge the trophy going to Price, who'd been deeply affected earlier in the year by the death from leukemia of his regular caddy, Jeff "Squeaky" Medland. But not even Sun City can match the Argentinian Open for dramatic tournament finishes. On the final hole, the American Jim Furyk sets up a birdie that he believes will put him into a playoff with the local favourite Eduardo Romero. But in the scorer's tent, a bombshell is being dropped. It is discovered that Romero, nicknamed the Cat, and playing partner Vicente Fernandez, 2 figureheads of Argentine golf, had forgotten to swap scorecards at the beginning of their rounds. Fernandez, wrongly believing that the fault is his alone, is distraught. Unaware of the drama unfolding, the American Ryder Cup player holes out and then walks off to prepare for a playoff. But because of their unwitting error, Romero and Fernandez are both disqualified since their cards are incorrectly marked, leaving Furyk the outright winner.
You know, I was really happy to go ahead and birdie 18, and then to come in and find out that Eduardo and Vicente were going to be disqualified is, it's really not the way you want to win a golf tournament. I was all prepared to go out and play off, but, I feel bad.
Jim Furyk then, the winner of the Argentinian Open, one that will be remembered by 2 people especially for a very long time. Other winners around the world, the pairing of Clarence Rose and Amy Fruworth took the J.C. Penney Classic title, while Greg Chalmers and Shigeki Maruyama won in Australia and Japan respectively. Other year-ending victories for Kenichi Kuboya, Greg Turner and the pairing of Jeff Maggott and Steve Elkington. That winning feeling too for Craig Parry in the last world ranking event of the year. The final world ranking list of 1997, headed by Greg Norman, Price's 5th win of the year sees him leapfrog over else into 3rd place. The biggest impact of the year made, not surprisingly, by Masters champion Tiger Woods, and good years too for his Ryder Cup teammates Jim Furyk and Justin Leonard. The best of the Europeans, the welcome return of Jose Maria Olazabal, and the rise of Lee Westwood, who finished his season so impressively.
Today I'm going to talk to you about tee shots. Now I know everybody's interested in learning how to get more distance. And I'm going to show you, by way of setting up to the ball correctly, how in actual fact you can get a few more yards on those drives. Now, when addressing an iron shot, the ball should be pretty much in the center of your stance, the weight fairly even, and your hands may be slightly ahead of the ball. This allows you to hit down on the ball with a slightly descending blow, take a slight divot and get the ball up in the air. Now with a drive, what you have to learn to do is to sweep the ball off the tee. Therefore, you've got to put the ball further forward, have your weight a little further back, and allow yourself to really hit the ball on the upswing. So let me show you how to set up to it. Ball forward towards your left heel. Get your hands maybe slightly behind the ball at address. Don't push them forward. Slightly behind. And then have about 60% of your weight on your right side, so you feel that your left shoulder is a little higher at address. Now, from here, we want to make sure we turn behind the ball and stay behind the ball. This allows you then to sweep the ball away. Let's show you how to do that. Okay, so remember, slightly wider stance, ball forward, weight back a little, get behind it, stay behind it, and hit those long straight tee shots.
Well, now for a bit of wildlife and a special extended family. The Pappas boys are South Africa's best-known golfing brotherhood, and they share the same passion for golf as they do the outdoor life.
Yeah, there's one female here which is we named Claire. You see the size of this female's horn? It's huge.
Between them, the 4 Pappas brothers boast a sizable collection of world records and claims to fame. In the last few years, they've put together a family CV that stretches from South Africa to the European Tour and on to the United States and one of the game's great Ryder Cup venues. This is big game.
You know, if the four of us get going together, you know, we can maybe throw a Pappas invasion.
We got a saying in South Africa, just moer and soek, and that's basically hit it as hard as you can and find it.
I don't know if I want to go walking there. That gun's not big enough, Bill.
458, cousin.
Grew up in a small town with a fantastic golf course, and there wasn't a whole lot to do out there.
They had a very good junior program there, started by my dad and several other gentlemen in Palabora.
You know, we grew up from the age of 5 and 6 with playing golf, so that's been a plus.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, he's not as heavy as I thought.
We had an American buddy, he came over, that's all he wanted to see.
We're a very tight family and we've always supported each other. I don't think there's any jealousy as far as if one plays good.
It wasn't, you know, I beat you, you beat me, that type of thing. We helped each other as much as we can. We always help each other.
In the game of golf, you're never playing against your brothers or someone else. You're always playing the golf course. So it's a personal thing. Golf's not a family thing or anything else. It's a personal thing.
The youngest of the brood, Brendan, made the biggest entrance last season at the Dimension Data in Sun City. Brendan shot an incredible 28.
It was as close to perfection that I've ever come on a golf course. It was truly amazing. I still struggle to find words to paint you a picture. It's just phenomenal. I hit the ball as well as I could, and I chipped and putted as well as I could. And you know, you dream of doing that throughout your life, and when it happens, it's phenomenal.
Then there's Sean Pappas, who spends most of his time on the South African tour. But in America, he hit the headlines on the mini tour with some amazing mini scores.
I won a tournament on a mini tour there, shot 59, 61, 64, 68, total 252. That was one of the highlights. Another one was I beat Ernie Els in a playoff in the Swazi Open here in South Africa. That was also another good one.
Dean Pappas possesses the armoury to aim very high. His prodigious hitting led to comparisons with John Daly, his friend and rival at college in the States.
I'm a little more laid back on the course, not too worried about things. I just try to fire away, you know. If it's there that day, then it's there. If it's not, well, we'll come back tomorrow.
The fourth member of the Mammals and the Pappas is Craig, out of Africa these days. He's head pro at Muirfield Village.
We're very proud of Craig, and he's done very well for himself. He started as a bag boy at Muirfield Country Club, and he's now the head pro there, so he's doing very well for himself.
Right, that Bronco.
But it wouldn't be natural if there wasn't a hint of sibling rivalry. If it's tough on safari, it's a ruthless world on the professional circuit. So who's the most likely to reach the top?
You know, last year I was the best out of the three of us, and this year it's a different story.
I've played the best so far this year. Brennan, beginning of last year, was unbelievable, and Sean's won quite a few pro tournaments.
We obviously play every practice round together. We always play for some money, and it's probably even up.
So for now, they split the drinks bill. But there are three very good reasons why Pappas could soon become a household name.
Cold beer, so you have a good day.
I'm getting better. I feel like I'm a lot happier now. And when it's good, it's the greatest feeling in the world, and when it's bad, I'm bad. I got to get through each day in this disease that I have, and that's all I got to worry about. The very first pro tournament I played in was the Missouri Open in 1987 in August, and I won that. It was my very first professional tournament, so I was kind of on my way.
But the world discovered John Daly in 1991 at the US PGA at Crooked Stick. After a late invite and without even a practice round, Daly gripped it and ripped it to write one of the game's major fairy tales. He gave away part of his prize money. He was a superstar, and he was public property.
I came out on the scene as a redneck country boy, just a rebel, having fun, and then I won the PGA in '91. I wasn't prepared for all that stuff. I wasn't prepared not only for the endorsements, but just for everything. Outside golf, it was very difficult. I wasn't used to it, going to restaurants and then, of course, at that time, bars and stuff, and just anywhere I went, I wasn't used to people recognizing. I just didn't say, what are these people? I mean, how can they recognize me? I'm just a golfer, you know. But it was a great feeling to know people did care about me and love watching me play.
Some can cope with sudden fame and wealth. Daly couldn't. His marital problems increased, and his battle with alcoholism began soon after Crooked Stick. But his devastating power game was still winning him titles on the US Tour in 1992, and then at the Bell South Classic 2 years later.
When I first got sober the first time in '94, I could really identify it with sobriety and how my life is getting better and better. But after that tournament, things just kind of changed, and I wasn't happy. I was finding reasons why I need to be drinking, excuses. I was in denial. In '95, it was to come back and win the way I did, and then Rocco making the putt and going out and beating him in the playoffs. It was a great, great win, but something was missing. And I think it was denial in my life of, I got to get this monkey off my back.
Even as Open champion, Daly continued to be plagued by controversy on and off the course. He'd walk away from tournaments or end up disqualified. Then on his birthday in April 1997, his sponsors withdrew their support 2 days after his wife Paulette, such a source of inspiration at St Andrews, had filed for divorce whilst John was in rehab.
And I was very, very upset. At the time in my life, I didn't know what to do. I mean, believe it or not, I haven't told a lot of people this, but there was a lot of suicidal thoughts in me, and at that time, because I was losing everything.
It was only by hitting the very bottom that Daly could begin to confront his problems. He was determined to cure his illness, and his fortunes took an upturn when he met patriarch Eli Callaway, whose organisation took him under their wing.
Mr. Callaway came down to the condo here, and we just talked. He just visited with me and seen how I was doing, and I could just see something in his eyes. Our conversation had nothing to do with business, and that's what I loved about him. It was more of a father figure to me, talking to me on what he wants John Daly to do in the future off the golf course. We didn't even hardly talk about golf.
Today, Laura Davis is among the close friends who drop in as Daly prepares for next season. He's lost weight and he's much more relaxed.
Perfect, let's go.
Time, to an extent, has tamed the wild thing, along with an easier, simpler approach to life that is edging Daly towards something like inner peace.
Oh, no, his money's real good. Don't even try it. I'm getting it. I need a quarter white. 96 and 97 were horrible years for golf. But March of 97, I think it's been the best win I've ever had in my life, is to go back through rehab and understand this program and understand this disease and what it can do, not only to me, but other people as well. And so I feel like I won my third major this year.
The next step is to win a major out on the course again. and to harness an undeniable talent into the form that has made John Daly one of the most exciting players of his generation. He believes he can do it.
And God, don't you give up on me.
I'm living day to day. You know, this program I'm in has just been a wonderful satisfaction for me every day I wake up.
God, please don't give up on me. This is my life.
As long as I don't pick up a drink, I know I'm winning every day.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Johnny Miller. You know, nothing feels better than a drive you hit right in the middle of the club face and it just explodes out there about 275 yards. You know, it really is what makes the game a lot of fun. And I'm going to tell you how to get a little bit more distance with the driver. Everybody seems to be looking for more distance. That's why so many people follow Tiger Woods and John Daly. They just love to see the ball smacked out there a long ways. And the anatomy of a long driver really is a couple things. They're very flexible. I think that's probably the most important thing you can do is have a good full turn. And let me show you a couple ways to get a fuller turn. One way is to take it to the top of your backswing and then let go of this right arm and stretch this muscle group out here. You got your tricep, your deltoid, trapezius muscle, and this lat muscle right here. You've got to stretch those so you can get a good turn. That's the first thing. It's so important because it's a lot like shooting a rubber band. The more you can pull that rubber band back, then you can just sort of let it go like Davis Love does and get this built-in power. The second thing you need to realize is once you get the good backswing, nice turn here, is the first movement down, you don't do too much. It's just sort of a nice casual move till you get right here. And then what you want to do is when you get right in the slot is take this right side, the other side here, and fire it at the target, just like Ian Woosnam does. Look at the power he gets for a short man. And so those two areas there is the good stretch going back, good turn, drop it down in the slot without firing too much here, and then when you get halfway, explode into the ball. Just like Laura Davies, explode into the ball right there, and you'll get a lot of distance, more distance than you've been getting, and there's nothing more fun than ripping that drive long and straight. Try it.
From the outset, he was the man to watch, and he delivered. In April, Tiger Woods conquered Augusta. There were 3 other victories and $2 million prize money to confirm the new order. Despite a few growing pains by the end of the season, there was no doubt that this was the year of the Tiger. Just 22 in December, Woods is our player of 97. There was to be no Grand Slam, though. The US Open went to Ernie Els for a second time. Not that he'd learned from that first win how to keep the lid on the cup. While his 5-iron second to Congressional 17th rates as our shot of the year. Tied with Colin Montgomerie at the time, Els opened up a decisive advantage with his pinpoint accuracy under the greatest of pressure. There will surely be more major honours for the South African in seasons to come. At the Open at Royal Troon, an Ernest Texan came from 5 behind to claim the claret jug. His putter that day especially was a deadly weapon, and this 30-footer for birdie is our putt of the year. At the same time it dropped, Jesper Parnevik missed his birdie opportunity on the 16th, and Leonard was on the way to becoming Open champion, deservedly so after a final round 65. Leonard then had to take second place to his great friend Davis Love at the US PGA. Love finally winning a major after knocking on the door for so long. That left Colin Montgomerie in sole possession of the tag of best player yet to win a major, but he did become Europe's #1 for a record 5th consecutive year. He just missed out again on the US Open title, and at Valderrama he secured the Ryder Cup outright for Europe. Monty's heir apparent in Europe, Lee Westwood, who finished the season with 3 victories in 5 weeks, including the Volvo Masters and in a playoff with Greg Norman, the Australian Open. David Duval also lit up the late season as he secured his debut American win and then 2 more victories, including the Tour Championship. But pride of place of the multiple winners goes to super senior Hale Irwin, who triumphed 9 times and became the first professional on any tour to win $2 million in one season. Jesper Parnevik justified his decision to play stateside with 6 top 3 finishes, but that all-important victory still eluded him. And for the second time, he was pipped at the post in the Open Championship, a notable disappointment. Nerve ends were jangling at the Women's US Open as Nancy Lopez homed in on her first US Open title, only to be thwarted by Alison Nicholas. Lopez gave of her best, but the Briton held her nerve for her first major title. One of the best rounds of the year came from Australia's Carrie Webb. She shot a blistering third round 63 over the old course at Sunningdale to put her 8 clear of the rest of the field and well set to lift the Weetabix Women's Open. No doubt about the comeback of the year. That belongs to Jose Maria Olazabal, who returned after 18 crippling months to win in only his 3rd tournament back. He also refound that old hole-in-one feeling and went on to qualify for Europe's Ryder Cup team, an astonishing success story. At the Trophée Lancan, his fellow countryman and Ryder Cup captain showed a flash of the old magic. In 1998, Seve Ballesteros is once again concentrating on playing, and with these powers of recovery, who would ever write him off? But recovery of the year goes to Valderrama, the first European venue for the Ryder Cup outside of Britain. Owner Jaime Ortiz Patino and his greenkeeping staff were faced with some very un-Spanish weather, but while most other courses would have been closed immediately by the deluges, play between Europe and America was merely delayed. When it did get going, the Europeans took a decisive lead and held on grimly as the Americans fought back. The big difference was Europe's 13th player, the inspirational Seve Ballesteros. The lowest stroke average for 97 belongs to Masashi Ozaki, with 5 titles in Japan this season. Nick Price is second, after topping the American averages for the 3rd time in his career. Dr. Gil Morgan comes in at 3rd after 6 victories on his debut season with the US Seniors. Colin Montgomery rates 4th after another outstanding season in Europe. And of the women, Carrie Webb comes out tops, despite being pipped in the world rankings by Annika Sorenstam. And that's it from Golfing World for 1997. From Gabriel Clark and myself, Mike Staniforth, a very happy New Year's golfing to you all.